All right, gang. All right, check it out. Check it out. As promised, I've got Mr. Ritchie Randall from Gravehuffer on Skype with us, man. I'm going to kill this background music. Ritchie, how you doing, man?
Doing well, Billy. How about yourself, man?
Doing awesome. Dude, thank you for taking time out tonight and chatting with us.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me. This is really cool.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. Dude, so, I guess, give us a little history about the band, man. How'd you guys get started? When did all begin?
Well, excuse me. It all started in 2008, like the summertime. And me and our bass player Mike and our drummer Larry, we actually played in a band in the 90s. It was like this crust punk metal kind of thing called Initial Detonation. And we did that for 3 or 4 years. We actually released a couple 7-inches, vinyl 7-inches.
Right, wow.
And and we did a couple of tours. We did like East Coast, Midwest, Canada a little bit, the North. Not really down south too much, but it was a lot of fun. And then that kind of fizzled out in like 2000, and then here comes 2008, and Mike and Larry were in a band called Ether Bunny, and it was kind of this like punk, just straight up punk rock kind of thing. And Mike was actually playing guitar at the time in that band, and then our current singer James, they asked him to join up, and they had a different bass player. Well, things didn't work out with the bass player, and then they gave me a call and asked, like, hey man, you want to play some music? And I was like, hell yeah, I've been itching to play for a couple years now, and I just got married and had a couple of kids, and so I'd kind of got that out, that family obligations were kind of more settled, so I could do music again.
Right.
And so they called me up, we started jamming, and then we formed Crom, which basically is Gravehuffer with a different name. And then after that, we did a bunch of playing shows just around the region, no touring or anything, but we ended up having to change the name to Gravehuffer. This was in 2012, I think. We were getting confused with a lot of other bands called Crom. So we ended up changing the name. And it was something that a friend of ours had for a band he was going to do, but they ended up not. He ended up like selling all his music gear and stuff and just kind of getting out of it completely. So our bass player Mike, he really loved that name, and he's like, man, we ought to see if Dozer will let us use that name. And so we asked him, and he's like, yeah, sure, man, as long as I get free Gravehuffer merch for life. And so we're like, all right, man. So that was the deal. But yeah, that's a little long-winded, but
no, that's cool, man. Because I usually follow up with how'd you come up with the name, but that was answering itself there, man. Yeah. So that's cool. So all you got to do is hand out some free merch, and you're good to go.
Good to go, yeah.
Hey, man, that's a gravy deal, right?
Hell yeah, I'm not gonna complain, man. And there's no other Gravehuffers out there that I know, so it's pretty unique.
It's very unique, because when I did the search on Facebook, you're the only Gravehuffer. So
right, I'm like, woo, yes, that works.
That's good, and that's kind of rare nowadays, man, because it's hard to come up with an original name that nobody else is using.
That's very true, man.
That's cool, man. Good for you guys.
Thanks.
So, dude, tell us about the songwriting, man. Would you say a one-person effort? Would you say it's a collaboration? How do you guys go about writing your tunes?
Well, it's kind of a little bit of all the above there, actually. Sometimes one of us will come in with a pretty solid idea. Sometimes we'll be at band practice and somebody will start playing something, then everybody joins in, or some, hell, even there was one story I can remember real well. The song off Your Fault. It's called "Prince with a Thousand Enemies." Excuse me. And we're having band practice, just playing our stuff, and I really had to take a shit, and so I go do my duty, and I hear them, and I hear our drummer Larry, he's like playing this beat, you know, and it's like this fucking hauling ass, but it's this weird sounding beat, and our bass player Mike just starts playing this riff, and then he starts playing another riff, and then Larry kind of changes it up. So they had a verse and a chorus like that, just that quick, and so like I'm like trying to hurry up, you know, and so. Because I'm thinking, I've already like got ideas of what I'm going to do. You know, I'm already thinking what I'm going to do. So I get out there. I was like, man, we gotta like, you know, expand on this. The song already kicks ass. And so, you know, that's kind of how it all works. You know, trying to think of some like examples. Oh, well, Shut Up and Skate, one of the songs you were going to play. That was a song that our bass player he wrote the entire song. Like the whole thing on bass, and he even wanted the song to be about skateboarding and everything.
Oh shit!
And yeah, and he doesn't write lyrics, or James writes the lyrics, but he told James, he goes, man, I really want to do a song about skating. And James is like, man, I've never skated ever in my life. and Mike's like, well, okay, just here it is. Here's the deal. The guy gets up, smokes a bowl, and then goes skating. And so, like, James really knocked it out of the park. He really wrote some cool lyrics to go with it. And so, yeah, let's see, what other... Destroyer of Worlds was a song that I brought in. I pretty much had that song totally written and brought it to practice. Kill for Sport was another one that I kind of had written, and then when I got to practice, it changed, and it's actually way cooler the way the band... You know, when they chewed it up and spit it out, it was like, yeah, I like this version a lot better. So yeah, it just kind of goes all over the place, man. That's how our influences are too. You know, everybody listens to totally different shit, so we all write differently too, and somehow it makes sense. I don't know how, but
that's that's the bottom line, man. As long as it makes sense, right?
Right? Yeah.
Killer, dude. Well, how would you describe your sound to the people?
It's a mix, like just a punk mutt, I guess. You know, some songs kind of lean more towards one or the other, but it seems like we kind of straddle that line in between those two. And then as far as subgenres, you know, we'll go into some kind of thrashy kind of stuff, some like doom sludgy kind of areas. Sometimes the more hardcore punk. Every once in a while we'll kind of get into some grind, you know, throw some blast beats down, you know. And sometimes we get into like just classic heavy metal, you know. I don't know. It just
very eclectic sound.
There's a lot. Yeah, it is, and we're older guys, and a lot of the music we listened to when we were younger, that's what they did. They're like, you know, if we want to do an acoustic song, we'll do it. If we want to do a heavy bluesy song, we're going to do it. If we want to do something fast, we're going to do it. And you know, a lot of those classic bands that everybody loves, if you really listen to, you know, the old bands like Sabbath and Zeppelin and Deep Purple and all that like classic rock stuff, they did so much within their sound, but it still made sense.
Right.
And I think we're trying to do that, and most of the time it works, I think.
Cool, man. Cool. So, dude, you've been around for a while. What are some of the challenges you guys faced in the industry?
That's an interesting question, because it's like we've pretty much been DIY for almost, you know, in all the bands I've ever been in and all the rest of us, you know, we've pretty much done it ourselves for the most part. Mm-hmm. And as far as industry is concerned, we're just now starting to get a tiny little taste of that now that we're on a label.
Right.
And, but the thing is, the label we're on, Blunt Faith Records, is not your conventional record label. They do things pretty differently, and so It is almost a DIY approach, but they're still, they have a PR team and they have labeled, they have some finances and, they have good ways that they can get your stuff out there without, just in addition to your own ways of doing things. They just complement what the bands are doing and they give you total artistic control, which is great, And then, sending your music to radio and things like that, all the internet stations, because there's so many out there.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And, it's like I try to jump in as many stations as I can, jump in chat rooms and say hello and network. And, it makes it tough because, we get played on a lot of different stations, and it makes it pretty difficult to hit everybody up. Because I try to as much as I can, and thankfully my day job allows for me to do that. I sit in front of a computer half the day, so I can multitask and then chat with people. It's pretty kick ass, honestly. It's really helped. But so challenges, man. Gosh, I really haven't. I just don't think we've come to that bridge yet. Everything as far as a challenge for ourselves has been, it's just been getting the music out there. Right. I guess that would be it. And it's all on us, really. But now, like I said, that we're with Blunt Face Records, we're starting to
easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's starting to make that transition.
Well, I always talk with the bands about the internet. It's being a double-edged sword.
Dude, totally.
It's great. It's an awesome tool for what you guys are doing. Getting your name out there, doing, putting your music out there, networking. But there's 100,000 other bands doing the same thing.
Right.
So you got to work just as hard, if not even harder, to keep your name out there, to keep it fresh.
Oh yeah. That's a 1,000% nail on the head right there. There's, like you said, it's so saturated.
Mm-hmm.
There's everywhere you look, there's just thousands of stations and millions of bands, and like you said, the internet. Who doesn't have access to the internet unless you're North Korea?
Right.
But serious. It's like everybody has this opportunity. And people can record anywhere, and I don't know. It's hard to stick out in a good way.
Yeah.
It's hard to be unique, and I think with Blunt Face Records, that's what they're trying to do, is do something a little more unique than a typical label. That's the goal, for sure.
That's cool. That's cool that you got that partnership there to help you out with that.
Totally, man.
So, dude, the first song I want to spin tonight, Kill for Sport. What can you tell us about it, man?
That was one of the ones that I brought into the band, and then they kind of changed it around a little bit, and then it ended up how it was. And as far as the lyrical content, it's really kind of fucked up. Our singer wrote it about, I guess the initial spark or the initial idea was it was a serial killer, and God, I'm having a brain fart, man. I can't think of who it was. Damn it! They made a movie about it, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Henry Lee Lucas.
Okay.
It started out about him and his buddy Otis Toole, and then I think James ended up writing it a little bit more vaguely to where it wasn't like totally about that. But I don't know if you've ever seen. We made a video for that song too, and just go to YouTube and type in Gravehuffer Kill for Sport. Our bass player he's like a really kick-ass artist.
Oh, cool!
And he animated almost the entire video. Him and his friend Brad Kester, they animated the video, and they have this computer software where they were able to scan the stuff in and then animate all the stuff that they drew. And it's pretty messed up, man. And it's demented in a funny way, I guess. but yeah, seriously, we want to get people to watch that video because it's just freaking great. But so yeah, it's definitely like a heavy, sludgy kind of riff fest.
Killer,
and I think people dig that one for sure. It's a song people seem to like. Anyway, they love the riff.
Cool. All right, listeners, check it out. This is Kill for Sport from Gravehuffer. We'll be right back with more Ritchie. All right, gang, we're back with Ritchie Randall from Gravehuffer, man. Killer tune, brother, killer tune.
Thanks, man.
Dude, so let's talk a little bit about yourself, man. When did you first pick up the guitar, man? When did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
Well, I remember I was probably like 5 or 6 years old. I was flipping through my dad's vinyl, and I came across Judas Priest Unleashed in the East.
Oy.
And I was like, whoa, you know. I saw KK Downing with his Flying V, you know, holding it up in the air, and I was like, dude, that's what I want to do. I'll never forget that, you know. I immediately knew I wanted to play guitar right at that moment. And I put the record on, and I was like, what is this? This is, you know, Exciter came on, you know. I'm like, this is badass, man. And to this day, they're pretty much my favorite band ever.
That's killer.
And then my parents named me after Ritchie Blackmore from Deep Purple and Rainbow. And so they're into the hard rock back then, you know.
That's cool.
And so it's like, I feel like if I wasn't a guitar player, I'd be like a failure in their eyes or something, you know. like we named you after a guitar player, you better do it. But anyway, flash forward to about 1989. I think that's when my parents bought me a guitar and an amp for Christmas, and that I was like, it was like a little Flying V and this cheap amp, and it probably didn't sound real great, but at the time I was, you know, I didn't care.
Right, yeah.
You know, I couldn't, you know, I was just like, I have a guitar and an amp and I could play it, you know. And so I remember figuring out Smoke on the Water on my own and thinking how badass that was, you know. And so my parents, you know, I played it for a few months, and I guess I played it like a lot, and so much so that they offered to pay for guitar lessons.
Oh.
So they started paying for lessons, and I took lessons for probably 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
That I really do, but I don't know if it was just my age. I was a teenager, and I just wanted to play Metallica riffs or what the deal was, but so I kind of gave that up and then started, you know, playing in bands around the area. You know, I just wanted to like write music, and so I started jamming with friends and stuff, and started playing with shitty drummers and shitty bass players, and then you start kind of like getting, you start meeting other musicians in the area. Man, that dude's a badass, and then this dude's a badass, and then you start, you know, trying to form a band with all the badasses, and you know, hopefully it sticks, you know, and that's kind of how it's been, you know, and it's worked out for the most part. So
cool, man, that's cool. So you touched on Judas Priest a little there, but who would you say are your personal musical influences, man?
They're a big one. That Destroy a World song, I mean, when I wrote that, I'm totally thinking, like, I want to write my version of Electric Eye, you know?
Right.
And, you know, and I mean, it doesn't sound very much like it, but that's totally what I was thinking. Morbid Angel, they're a huge influence on me. All that 80s thrash, I mean, the big four bands, Testament, Exodus, all that kind of Bay Area stuff. Godflesh, like the English Earache Records kind of stuff, you know, that late 80s, early 90s. Napalm Death.
Oh, wow.
I mean, kind of get a mixed bag for sure. You know, even like the Ramones and the Sex Pistols and the punk kind of stuff.
Right.
And then when I met Larry and Mike and the initial Detonation guys, that's when I really dove into the punk rock. But like the crazy punk stuff. But yeah, Mike, he's more into like Discharge and Nausea and all those like really underground punk stuff. But yeah, I'm more of the metal guy. That's for sure.
Cool, man.
I'm actually gonna. You're talking about Judas Priest. I'm gonna go see them in April.
Oh, sweet.
Me and my oldest son are gonna go and it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is only about an hour and a half from here. So don't even have to drive that far.
No, man, no, that's cool, killer.
Yeah,
and it's cool that you know the next generation is digging it. You know.
Oh yeah, he loves them. Hell, we got to meet him one time.
No shit.
Yeah, 2008, we went and saw him, and I'm like, I think he was 5 years old, my oldest son at the time, and we took him down, I think it was Dallas, when we saw him in Dallas. It's about a 6-hour drive, and we paid extra to do the VIP meet and greet thing.
Oh.
And so their website, the JudasPriest.com, they were taking pictures with the band and stuff, so we got to do a little meet and greet with them. We got to talk to them for about 10 or 15 minutes. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Holy shit. Wow, that's so cool.
It was badass.
Wow.
And their VIP, it wasn't all that expensive compared to what they are now.
Wow.
I mean, it was
cool. Man, 10, 15 minutes. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Because usually it's just, hey, how you doing? Thank you.
How's it going?
Goodbye.
Smile for the camera. Yeah, see you later. Yeah. No, we talked to them. It was a good 10 or 15 minutes. And now they fed us dinner and all kinds of shit.
Wow.
It was badass, dude.
Wow, man.
Really cool. And the priest guys were the nicest dudes, man. They were so nice. And they thought it was so cool that we brought our kid with us. They were talking to him probably more than anybody. Because he was like geeking out, I mean, he said, me and Glenn Tipton are buddies and all this. And it was pretty, dude, it was cool. Hilarious.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. My Facebook cover photo is us with Judas Priest.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So I'll have to send that to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. Dude, so when you're not writing, touring, rehearsing, playing out, man, what do you do with your time off, man? What do you do for some R&R?
Well, I'm married and I've got 4 kids.
So you're in the same boat as me. So there's not much time to do anything else, right?
Yeah. So we just hang out with the family, dude. And my oldest son, he's 14. My middle child's 10, and then I've got twin boys, the youngest ones, and they're 6. And so it's like insane, And so, but I mean, we go out and do stuff. I'll take them to the aquarium or the zoo, or we'll go down to. There's a place, the state of Arkansas has this cool town called Eureka Springs, and we'll go down there and hang out. But it's pretty much just family stuff, man. And my wife is actually going to school because I work at a university here in town, and so it helps like pay for her schooling. And she's going to she's going to nursing school. So right now it's kind of like I'm cooking and watching the kids while she studies and all that stuff. But once she graduates, it's like gravy, man. Because she'll be the breadwinner.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. So, I'll be able to do more music. So
that's cool.
So it's all good.
Yeah, man. That's good for you, man. Family first. That's what I always say.
Yep, definitely.
Good. So, dude, what would you say is your most memorable moment so far?
And like playing music?
Yeah, playing music, man. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. We played a show one time at this place called Blackthorn Pizza, and it's here in town, here in Joplin. And we show up, and the bill for it is a band called Public Assassin, and us, and then another band called Coventry Sacrifice. And just 3 metal as fuck bands, okay? And actually, I'll give you a little background on Public Assassin. Back when they've been around since like the early 90s, and their drummer at the time in the early 90s, his name was Richard Christie. I don't know if you know who he is. He played in Death.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he played Control Denied, and Charred Walls of the Damned. I think he's in that band with Ripper Owens. And he was on the Howard Stern show, I think.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah, and anyway, he played in Public Assassin for forever. And anyway, when we played with them, he obviously wasn't in the band, but because this was only a few years ago. I digress. So we're playing the show, right? And we start up, and all of a sudden, these people come in with like these foam swords and shields and all like helmets and LARP weapons, whatever you want to call them. And instead of moshing, it's like this full-on like freaking Sparta, freaking sword fight, and like people are just beating the shit out of each other with these swords and clubs, and it was crazy. I've never seen anything like that in my life, and it's in this tiny little pizza and pub place.
No shit.
And it was just, man, it was insane. I remember when one of the other bands was playing, I got down in the pit and grabbed a freaking club, and I turned around and some dude just bops me right between the eyes, man. And I wear glasses, so it like just cuts my nose wide open. There's blood everywhere.
Oh, Jesus.
The dude's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm laughing. And I'm like, no, it's cool, man. I said, this is metal as fuck. And he just dies laughing. And then the funny thing was, he was wearing a Gravehuffer shirt.
No shit.
I was like, so I think that's why he felt bad in the first place. He goes, oh my God, I just hit the guitar player. so yeah, that was pretty nutty, man. I gotta say that was pretty cool. And another moment that probably matches that was we opened for DRI one time.
Oh, cool.
And that was insane. And we opened for Death Angel once, too. That was almost as insane. And then I think we opened for Vader and Immolation one time as well. And that was pretty cool.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, dude, let's take it to the other end of the spectrum here, man. Do you have any Spinal Tap moments you want to share with us?
Man, I wish we did, in a way. You know, it seems like, seriously, it seems like our luck has been pretty good so
good,
far.
Man.
I mean, now in this other band I was in, Initial Detonation. Now, when we were touring, there was definitely some moments. You know, it'd be like driving down the road and then the trailer gets a flat, you know, and then you're stranded on the highway for hours, and I think we even had to cancel a show. And you know, there's been shit like that, and I don't know if you consider that a Spinal Tap moment.
Yeah, yeah, man, always.
You know, it's like, and then we're sitting on the side of the road, and we have to eat like raviolis out of the can, and, you know, and seriously, we're on the freaking 5-lane highway and eating ravioli on the side of the road while we're trying to change a tire. But yeah, there were a few interesting moments touring, that's for sure. But yeah, playing shows, everything seems to go okay for the most part. But you know, the whole like sword fight mosh pit thing was pretty insane.
Out there, yeah,
yeah.
That's cool.
Nothing real Spinal. Well, I take that back. That Vader Immolation show, I was playing my guitar, and then something came unplugged.
Oh.
And so my guitar it was fucked up sounding. But, like, everybody in the audience, I don't think they knew. They thought it was just some kind of, like, it's supposed to sound that way. Because
like
I sounded... Yeah, and it's because it had this real kind of crackly, like, electronic sound, but you could still hear the chords. It was really bizarre, and I remember trying to kick my pedals to find out which one it was without being obvious about it, and it just made it worse. And then finally that song ended, and so I'm like scrambling, you know, because like Vader's tour manager's like, you guys got 20 minutes and blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
And so we were really crunched for time, so yeah, that was probably the closest to a Spinal Tap moment.
Knock on wood, right?
Yeah, that's definitely.
Dude, the next song I want to play, Shut Up and Skate, man. You touched base a little bit on it before. You want to tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah. Like I said, it was one our best wrote. You know, he had the complete idea on it. It's definitely more of the punk rock side of what we do. And the way Mike described it was, he goes, I just want it to sound like you're skating down the road. Like, it's fast, it's hardcore, it's not like chuggy, it's just like the wheels are rolling, you know?
Right.
And it's just nonstop. And so that's kind of how the song went, you know? And there's not any like low parts to it, it's all kind of mid-range, and it just has that whole speed element to it.
Clear.
And then at the end, it kind of slows down when he goes to chill and smoke his joint, you know? And kind of reflect on things. And so, you know, he's like, all right, I've skated for the day, and so I'm going to kick back. And so the music kind of fits it in that respect. This is another song we have a cool video for. And what we did was we compiled a bunch of videos from all the local skaters here in Joplin. And it's just them doing their tricks and, you know, skating ramps and half pipes and all kinds of shit. Yeah, and we just wanted to feature local skaters kind of as a thank you to all the cool people we know that skate. So it's kind of a tribute to them, for sure.
Cool. That's really cool, man.
Thanks.
Well, check it out, gang. This is Shut Up and Skate from Gravehuffer. We'll be back with more Ritchie. All right, listeners, we're back with Ritchie Randall, Gravehuffer, killer tune, man. We kind of lost track of time there for a second. It's all good.
Yeah, that's a short one, man.
Yeah. We're bullshitting off air, and I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, man. So, dude, you got the new CD out, Your Fault.
Yes.
Would you say you guys have evolved over the years, man?
Yeah, I would like to think so. I would think, at least in my opinion, the Your Fault album is probably more, what am I trying to say here? Not concise, but maybe a little more consistent. I mean, we're still all over the place, but I think it makes more sense even more. So, you know. Because the album we did before, Blast Music, it was meant to be, we were going to put it out as an EP, okay? And then the label we were on, Reality Impaired, the guy, the label guy said, well, why don't you, since you changed the name, why don't you put the Crom album on there along with the EP to reintroduce fans to the Crom stuff under the Gravehuffer name.
Oh.
And we were like, well, you know, that's actually a good idea, because then it gets the point across that it's still the same band, but we just changed the name because we still play all the Crom songs, and so I mean, none of the band members changed, so it was just a name change, and so that's what we did. And the only drawback was the songs were a little inconsistent sounding, because they're recorded in different sessions and that kind of thing. So we did try to keep them like separate. Like the first 4 songs were originally going to be from the EP, and then we put the rest of the older stuff on the back end of it. And then with the Your Fault album, it's all one statement, and then it all makes sense. And we tried to arrange the songs in a way that it kind of tells the story, you know. And so. And it also flows in a musical sense. You know, the first song will be like intense. The next song is, you know, sludgy. The next song's kind of punky. You know, it kind of goes. It's like a roller coaster. You know.
Cool.
And so we were really mindful of that. And so I think this is more of an album statement than anything we've ever done. And plus the songwriting, I think, is more consistent. So, and I know for a fact these songs are a little bit more difficult to play too. So, so we're challenging ourselves more.
That's cool. Yeah, man. That's what you got to do.
Right.
Yeah. Killer, man. Killer. So now we talked about your label, Bluntface Records, man. How's things going with that so far? I mean, you guys happy with the partnership?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because we really haven't released anything through them yet.
Right.
What the deal is with them is when we wrote this Your Fault album, we wrote it to put it on vinyl. I mean, that was our number one goal when we right from the beginning. We just wanted to put it to vinyl because everybody in this band has been on like a 7-inch, a cassette, a CD, but we've never had that 12-inch vinyl experience,
Right.
And so we come from that, all of us are like in our mid 40s, when we grew up in that time. And so it's just kind of a nostalgia trip in a way, but at the same time, we really mean it, I mean, it's like the production's even kind of raw, and it just sounds like it belongs on a slab of vinyl, And so we were originally signed up to another record label, and they had the masters and all that. And that label ended up closing up shop in February of this year. And so then we're like, shit, what are we going to do? So we were kind of forced to put out the CD and the cassette ourselves. And so we were like, well, I guess we'll just do vinyl another time, or, because it's expensive, It costs thousands. I mean, it costs thousands of dollars to do vinyl. Yeah. So Bluntface Records, they changed hands a little bit. Like, they have a new CEO. Well, when they announced that change, they were talking about different projects they were going to do. And I just happened to be friends with a lot of these Bluntface guys. And so they said something about blah, 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 vinyl. And so I'm like, vinyl, I'm like a deer in the headlights, And so I asked the guys, I was like, hey, what would you think about putting out our album on vinyl? And the guy goes, hey, man, you were one of the first bands we thought of when we were talking about doing vinyl. So I'm like, perfect, I mean, it just ended up totally working out. And so the label, we made it official. We signed our contract. And then they suggested, hey, why don't you guys record a couple of bonus tracks exclusive to the vinyl to make it that much more cool, And so that's where the Your Fault song, that's one of them. That's going to be one of the vinyl exclusive bonus tracks. And we have yet to record the other one. It's called No Boundaries, No Borders. That's the name of that one. And that's going to be recorded with the new drummer, hopefully. That's the plan. So, but I don't know. Have you ever heard of Carcass?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you familiar with the Swan Song album?
Yes.
Okay. The guitar player on that, there's Bill Steer, and then there's Carlo Regatas.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the solo on Your Fault.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. And so we, I don't know how that happened, but I just somehow became friends with him on Facebook, and half jokingly I asked him, hey, would you do a solo on my band's album? And he said, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was that easy. I mean, that's one thing like you were talking about the internet being a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
The cool edge about it is you can get a hold of people and network and do cool shit like this. And I don't know if you've got a chance to listen to the song yet, but man, that guitar solo is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it just takes the song to a whole other level.
Right.
So.
That's killer, man. That's
so
killer.
Yeah. There you go, man.
Killer.
Yeah. Thanks.
For the young bucks out there, man, the guys just starting out, what advice would you have to give them, man?
Well, I can only tell you what works for me, and that is, well, I have a pretty good work ethic, and I think that you really have to, as much as you want to enjoy your job, it still is a job, and you still have to take it with some amount of seriousness. Otherwise, you're not going to get real far, you know. And I think that's going to help you. And another thing is networking. Again, with the internet, you can get on there and you can get a hold or get in touch with anybody pretty much.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to talk to people. You know, I mean, I'm a freaking introvert, dude. I mean, I just seriously, and I have like real bad anxiety, and you know, I have a hell of a time. That's perfect because exactly. I mean, worst they can say is no, and so you just can't be afraid to ask, and you can't be afraid to talk to people because you just never know who they might know or who that person is, or you know, whatever.
Right.
You know, the train keeps rolling, man. There's no brakes on the metal train.
No.
You know?
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's killer, man. Killer. Dude,
thanks.
So let's squeeze in another song here, man. I got a Destroyer of Worlds up on deck, man. Tell us about the tune.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of the ones I brought to the band pretty early on. I mean, and as far as the York sessions. And I think it was like the second song we wrote. And that was kind of the one where it's pretty metal sounding. I mean, it's probably one of our most metal sounding songs. And it's got a lot of good, like, guitar harmony shit. And it kind of has cut, like, several different movements in it. And it's pretty cool. It's about Robert Oppenheimer. He's the guy that was behind the invention of the atomic bomb technology. And that's pretty much, the lyrics are kind of through his eyes. Like, he wasn't crazy about the way the bomb was used, you know. I mean, he was a very intelligent guy, but he was pretty conflicted on what happened. And so it's just kind of written through from his perspective, lyrically.
That's cool. That's real cool. All right, gang.
It's another one. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it's got a video too.
Oh, hey, killer, man.
That real quick.
Yeah, plug away, man.
Yeah, it's got Godzilla footage and like the atomic bomb footage and like old Godzilla movie footage.
No shit.
So it's pretty cool.
No shit. That's cool. All right, gang, check it out. Destroyer of Worlds from Gravehuffer. We'll be right back with more Ritchie.
Blinding light, adopt the changing night.
man. We're back with Ritchie Randall, Gravehuffer. Another killer tune, man. Awesome.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Dude, let's see here. So, I guess as far as the whole Gravehuffer thing goes, man, what would you say is the ultimate goal for the band? What would you like to see happen?
Well, I think initially, like kind of talking about the vinyl release, that's being with Bluntface, that's the immediate goal. And starting in December, I believe, December or January, we're going to start pre-sales for the vinyl. And we'll run that campaign for 2 or 3 months. And then after that, the vinyl will probably come out late spring of 2018. And then after that, we'll definitely hit the road to support the record. And we probably won't do any like major like touring per se, but we're definitely going to do maybe 2 or 3 dates here, and then maybe the next couple weeks we'll do 2 or 3 dates up here. We'll move it around. We'll do, I guess they call them weekenders.
Yeah.
Where you just but that's probably how we're going to do it. To work around everybody's like day jobs and schedules and things like that. But yeah, man, we're definitely going to get out there and hit the road and play shows and get the Your Fault album promoted properly. And with this drummer situation, that's been an issue. I mean, we haven't played a show in a year and a half, so it's been a little rough going. Because the drummer we had since 2008, he kind of had a change of life, a job, I guess. Right. And he works on the road like about a month to 6 weeks at a time. Then he'll come back home for a week. Then he'll go out for another 4 or 6 weeks, And so it just made it really difficult to schedule anything because he never knew when he was coming or going. So we dealt with that for a year and a half, and we finally just had to move on, which sucked because we've been friends with the guy since, 1995 or 1996, And, I mean, we're still friends and everything, but we just had to say, hey, man, we want to play shows, And so it's been long enough. So we're hopefully going to start jamming with this guy that we've already got a guy picked out, and he plays in another band, and his style is different, so it's probably going to change the sound a little bit. He's more of like a double bass playing drummer, where our previous drummer, Larry, he played a single kick, and so it gave it more of a punk influence. So it's probably going to be a little bit more choppy sounding, maybe a little bit more, maybe we may have some death metal influences creeping in there. So
hey, that's cool.
I'm really curious and pretty stoked to see how this, affects our sound, and I think it'll be positive because the guy can rip, dude. I mean, he plays in a Slayer cover band.
Oh Jesus, okay.
So if he can do Dave Lombardo, if he can do Dave Lombardo, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I hear you, man. No
so shit. We're not too worried about the talent,
That's cool.
And he's a cool guy. We've known him for 4 or 5 years now. So
so that's even better. That's it.
Yeah.
I always say, like when the bandmates are friends and everybody gets along, that shows through.
It really does.
And and if you're not getting along and you're up there faking it, the people can spot fakes pretty quick.
Yep, especially the metal crowd, dude. A lot of those people are in bands, or they know that dynamic, and they can spot that shit. It's like, man. I know when I'm watching a band, I can tell when they're not getting along.
Right, and
you can see the weird little cues or the weird little looks.
Yep.
You know that shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that could kill a show.
It does, dude. It's a bad deal. I've seen bands quit halfway through a set because they're pissed off.
Right.
And that's, and then you don't ever see them again because it just got ugly.
Yeah, man. Yep.
So, yeah, being, like you were saying, friendship does. It's very important. So, that was one of the reasons we picked this guy, because we've known him for a while. and he's a badass. So it just kind of made sense. It just made sense.
Right, killer. Dude, so, okay, upcoming shows. What do you got going on? Anything booked yet?
No. Yeah, see, that's the thing. We don't have anything booked, like, set in stone. We've got stuff that we would like to do, but we don't have anything, like, solid. Nothing concrete yet. We need to jam with this guy, and because we have yet to even play any rehearsals with him.
Okay.
Because he actually lives about an hour away in a town called Springfield, and so he's looking for a place to jam. He's kind of having a tough time of it. The kind of cool thing about where we are is if he's willing to come down and leave his drums, then our singer has a jam room now, and then our bass player will have a jam room in like a week.
Oh,
he just bought him a house, and then our singer he's renting a new house, but he's renting from friends, so they're cool with it. So that stuff's working out great because we used to jam in our old drummer's house, but that's no more.
Right.
So we weren't. Now it's just me and the bass player. We're just getting together and writing stuff, and we've written 3 or 4 new songs already for the next album. So, hell, by the time the vinyl comes out, we'll probably have another album in the can.
Hey, man, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we're still doing our thing, man.
Cool. Well, Ritchie, man, tell us where the listeners can find Gravehuffer.
Okay. We're pretty much on every, like, digital platform, like iTunes, Amazon, Rhapsody, Deezer, all those places. We like to direct people to gravehuffer.bandcamp.com. That benefits us the most. And bluntfacerecords.com also has basically all of our information in one place. Once our album is out, bluntfacerecords.com will have a lot more Gravehuffer stuff. Since we're just freshly signed, it's basically just the bio, and then we've got a couple songs and a video up there. Also, YouTube, all the streaming sites, Spotify. I mean, we're pretty much everywhere, man. As the Bandcamp site does have some merch, like we've got T-shirts that glow in the dark.
Oh, that's cool.
We've got, we got patches and guitar picks that glow in the dark and cassettes. We're actually out of CDs right now, believe it or not.
Well, that's
we got our
thing.
first. Yeah. I mean, it's good that it's been selling. Our first album, we still got some of that. We had to have that repressed, but we got a fresh batch of that. We have this it's an interesting thing. It looks like a cassette, but there's a USB stick that kind of flips out of the bottom of it, and so you can plug it into your computer or your Blu-ray player or whatever USB device you have, and it has every song we've ever written on it.
Oh shit!
So it's got both the Blast for Music and the Your Fault album. It's got all the videos that I've discussed, the Kill for Sport, Destroyer, and the Shut Up and Skate videos, and it's got every song is in MP3 format or WAV format. It's got all the lyrics, and it's got like artwork and all that shit in there. And the J card the cassette's in's got the artwork for each album on each side. And it's an import through a place called Audiobooks on Tape. And it's like, I think it's in British pounds. It's like 10 pounds. I don't know how much that is in US dollars. But it's pretty cool, man. It turned out really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
And that's a really cool idea, man. That's cool. That's original.
Yeah. We've sold a handful of those, man. I've had quite a few people buy those.
That's cool. All right, man. So, Rich, I want to thank you, man, for calling in tonight and taking some time out of your life to hang out with us, man. That was really cool of you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for having me, Billy. It's been a great chat, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, the last song I want to play tonight is Your Fault, man.
Yeah.
Tell us about the tune.
Well, this is This is a song that we wrote specifically for the vinyl release of the Your Fall album. And I know it's weird. We have a title track that's a bonus track. Yeah. Everybody's like, man, that's real bizarre. But what it did, like, our singer wrote the lyrics, okay? And it just, that title really made sense. And so that's what we decided to call it. It just kind of worked out that way. And the lyrics are kind of about classism, social classes, and the way it's divided up in the country and throughout the world, really.
Right.
And it's kind of from the point of view of the lower to the middle class and how a lot of them feel towards the 1%, kind of. And so it's a pretty poignant lyrically, James did a really good job on it. Musically, it's kind of like Napalm Death-ish, and then it kind of goes into this kind of weird, like, black metal on Quaaludes kind of thing. And that's the part where Carlo Regatas from Carcass, he solos over that section.
That's cool.
And man, yeah, dude, the fucking solo is badass. He like double tracked it and like plays guitar harmonies and does all this cool whammy bar shit. And it's real melodic and it's just incredible. It's like another piece of music within it, But I don't know if you know what an EBow is, but it's this little electronic device. Yeah, I got to play EBow at the end of it, and there's piano, and it's a pretty eclectic tune, man.
Killer.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, Ritchie, man, thank you again, man. Thanks, brother.
Hey, no problem.
You're welcome back anytime, man. We'll get
Sweet.
you. Yeah, anytime, man. Hang on one second.
Sweet.
Listeners, check this out. Gravehuffer, Your Fault. We'll be right back.
1960s represented the last burst of the human being before he was extinguished. And that this is the beginning of the rest of the future now. That from now on, there'll simply be all these robots walking around, feeling nothing, thinking nothing. that there once was a species called a human being, with feelings and thoughts, and that history and memory are right now being erased, and soon nobody will really remember.